Choice is a law, and choice is a function of the frontal lobe. And remember, your will is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. These are the laws that govern the mind. This is like a toolbox, and when law is adhered to, mental health responds. Mental health is the result.
In this video, we'll learn from Barbara O'Neill summarizing her insights on the laws of the mind. She discusses how thoughts and beliefs shape our reality and influence our behavior. O'Neill highlights concepts such as the power of positive thinking, the role of subconscious beliefs, and the impact of mental attitudes on health and well-being. By aligning our thoughts with our goals and values, she argues that we can create a more fulfilling life. Stay with us until the end as we reveal the key to living a healthy, long life.
Before we move on, there's one last. And this is a Bible verse. I'm sure we all know it well. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. It's more than a nice saying. It's divine law. And that law states that whatever you give out, you shall receive again. Now this can be scary and it can be great. When is it scary? It's scary when what we're giving out is not good, because that law states it's coming back again. Now this can be incredibly helpful when someone has been terribly used, abused. Often people say to me, well, they need to know what it feels like. I say, maybe no, maybe so, but not by your hand. Because if it is by your hand, that law states it will come back. No, the second law gives the key on how we can free ourselves from painful past through the law of choice. Forgiveness is the choice that can free us from painful past. One writer wrote it like this: forgiveness sets the prisoner free. The prisoner is me. It's the best selfish decision you can make. Forgiveness does cut the chains that bind you to painful past. Forgiveness gives you wings. It gives you freedom. One lady said, I don't want to free them. I said, you can't free them. You can only free yourself. I have seen many people who are physically sick because they're bitter about a terrible experience where they were badly treated. And when I say to them, have you forgiven? Often their response is they don't deserve forgiveness. And I say, absolutely right, but it's got nothing to do with it. And they will probably never know whether you've forgiven them or not. In fact, if you don't forgive them, you keep them chained to you. How many people do we meet who have been through a tragic experience and it years later and they're still hanging on to it? Let it go. You can let it go. It's a frontal lobe decision. It is not a feeling decision, because if it was, we would never do it. I'm about to tell you a scientific fact, and it may sound very flippant, but it's a scientific fact. Fake it till you make it. Fake it means I forgive. Why do you fake it? Because you don't feel like doing it. But frontal lobe says you just got to do it. You just got to do it. And you know, when you keep doing it, I forgive this person, I forgive this person, I forgive this person. It might start like that, but remember, practice makes perfect and practice makes permanent. That's what you fake it till you make it is. One lady said to me, I couldn't even say their name the first 2 weeks. But she said, I pushed on, I pushed on. She said, after 2 weeks, I could say their name. After 3 weeks, she said, I had no anger when I said the name. She said, after 2 months, I saw the person in the street, and she said the hair didn't go up on the back of my head, and I didn't feel like running up and wringing their neck. I actually had almost a warm feeling. Incredible. Incredible. The third law explains this. You see, our words affect our feelings. That's why you have to be very careful on your words, because what you say affects the way you feel. So when this lady forgave her abuser, it changed the way she felt about her abuser. She says she was totally unprepared for that. It was a pleasant surprise, a pleasant side effect. Forgiveness is a choice. It's a frontal lobe decision. Don't listen to your feelings. Just tell them to settle down, because they'll come into line, because your words will affect them. Love is a choice. Love is a frontal lobe activity. It is not dependent on feelings. It is a frontal lobe decision. You see, when we fall in love with character. And character should get more beautiful with age, whereas the grey hair comes and the wrinkles come and the tummy gets a little bit bigger. So if that's what you've fallen in love with, you'll be very disappointed. The movies are wrong. You've probably noticed that. They must be. The movie stars that play the roles. What are they onto? Their third and fourth partners. No. Love is not a feeling. It is a principle. It is a choice. And when you make the choice to love, then the feelings follow. That's how it should be. Forgiveness is a choice. We've done that one. Happiness is a choice. We have no right not to be happy. And when I drove past the rubbish tip in Nakuru, Kenya, we drove slowly past the rubbish tip entrance and we looked in and saw little children running out with the happiest smiles you've ever seen. Where do they live? In the tip. What do they eat? Rubbish. And they're happy. Happy's not dependent on things. Happiness, like love, like forgiveness, is a principle. But there is a temptation in the human brain to refer to feelings. Feelings are not a good guide. Feelings need to be under the control of frontal lobe. We forgive and we love and we are happy because reason, intellect and judgment tells us this is the best thing to do at this point in time. The fourth law states that your words reveal your feelings and you cannot let them all out. Proverbs 29:11 states that the fool utters all his mind, but the wise man keeps it in till afterwards. Mouth. Be careful on that mouth, because your words affect your feelings and they affect the feelings of everyone around you. Some say it's your right to speak your mind. It is your obligation not to speak your mind. I'm shocked at what parents say to children. I think, don't you know they're going to grow up? Don't you know they're going to remember? And have you seen that little slogan on the back of the car? Parents, be nice to your children. They're going to choose your old folks home. It's true. It's true. Life serves back in the coin you pay. Yeah? What goes round comes round. Be very cautious. Be very cautious on your words, because your words affect your feelings and they affect the feelings of everyone around them. Because notice what the proverb says, because it is folly and it is shame to him. And it is rarely what it appears, isn't it? I found that as a mother. It's rarely what it appears. I have to hold my mouth and I have to wait and find out what's happening. Your words affect your feeling, they affect the feeling of everyone around you. Your words reveal your feelings and you can't let them all out. Some say it's your right to speak your mind. It's your obligation not to. But I'm upset. Well, go and chop some wood. We don't have wood. Go for a run. Get on the exercise bike. Have a cold shower. Have a big glass of water. Go outside and sing opera for 5 minutes. Don't speak until once again frontal lobe is boss, because this is a bad boss. Oh, how many words have been said that would have been best left unsaid. And how many words haven't been said that should have been said? How often at a funeral are these people saying all this stuff about this person, and that person through their life never heard those things? Your words reveal your feelings, so be careful with them. You see, with your feelings, if they're in charge, you get fight or flight. But when frontal lobe's in charge and a crisis arises, instead of fight or flight, you get pause and plan. Where do you pause and plan? Frontal lobe. Remember, that's foresight. But when feelings are in charge and a crisis arises, there's your fight and your flight. Oh, what a problem this tongue causes. But if frontal lobe is in control, which it will be if all of these are out of the equation. And if the brain's well hydrated, it's eating nourishing food, it's exercised, it's had its proper sleep, no stimulants going in, sunshine, fresh air, frontal lobe will be working well. So you will be able to pause and plan. Number 5 is the law of adaptation. It's only 10 years that science has acknowledged we have a changeable brain. It's called neuroplasticity. Neuro meaning nerve cell, plasticity, when you melt plastic, it molds to the shape of whatever you put it on when you have melted it. Because of the law of adaptation, our brain has the ability to grow and our brain has the ability to shrink. So I'm going to give you a terrible growing scenario and then an excellent growing scenario. Have you heard the story of the fish that got away? Every time the story's told, what happens to the fish? It gets bigger and bigger. Every time we relate negative experiences, do you know that they grow? And who would want them to grow? Some people are relating them every day and they're getting bigger and bigger. It's like one lady said to me, I'm just getting sick of the sound of it. I know he suffered in the war, but I can't bear to hear it anymore. And with that negativity, what's growing? All the little thorns. And that man was beginning to get physical ailments because of these negativity thorns in his brain. Well, what's the wonderful scenario? The wonderful growing scenario is this. Our brain has the ability to develop. Once the brain cell dies, it's gone. It can never regrow. No other cell is like that. But this one nerve cell has the ability to develop 70,000 dendrites. Every time you learn something new, another dendrite. Say you're a pianist, every time you learn a new piece. I like knitting fine lace. Every time I knit something new, a new pattern. Well, what's a terrible shrinking scenario? If you don't use your brain cells, you will lose them. When these brain cells go into stagnation from lack of use, they die. And once they die, they're gone. But what can also cause a shrinkage is these thorns, which are causing damage. Well, what's your good shrinking scenario? When we forgive anyone who's ever hurt us in our life, we turn painful past to dust. And when you turn painful past to dust, there's no bad smell to draw you down to that memory anymore. And so the pathway to that memory actually shrinks because of lack of thoroughfare down that pathway. Isn't that good news? I've seen so many people who've struggled with abuse in past. They have made a decision to forgive and they stop relating the story. You see, there's no bad smell anymore. It's just a little pile of dust. That's the good news. And Dr. Carolyn Leaf, she takes it one step further. She says, when you forgive anyone who's ever misunderstood you, ever hurt you in any way, you turn painful past to dust. And that night, let's say you do it right now, today, then tonight when you go to sleep, glial cells are activated. And these are the brain's vacuum cleaners. And there are more glial cells than nerve cells. And they come along in the night while you're sleeping and they vacuum clean up those old nests and those old thorns that have been damaging for too long. Science now shows us that forgiveness has a physiological effect on the brain to spring clean the brain. Isn't that good news? Amazing. Number 7, the last and the final law is the law of diversion. The law of diversion states that when something is so firmly denied as to refuse any hope for it, the brain has the ability to divert to other pursuits. Don't you love it? What are the old sayings for that? When God closes a door, he opens a window. And my elder son James, at the age of 13, he said, Mum, sometimes the window's bigger than the door. Good frontal lobe activity for a 13-year-old. One Italian man said, no. In Italy we say when God closes one door, he opens two. And I think we can all relate to that in our life. That experiences that we have thought would be maybe the worst thing that happened to us have been an open door or stepping stones to greater things. That the trials in our life not be rocks to crush us, but stepping stones to greater things. That's why it's like this. If you say it's great, it will be. And if you say it's bad, it will be.